The Blue Jays are officially in the playoffs. They are set to face off against the Seattle Mariners. And before we touch upon that, I wanted to ask you guys something. Last week, when the Blue Jays clinched the playoff spot, we saw Hazel May go into the dressing room and the boys are partying. They had to tarp up the dressing room because beer spraying everywhere. They got the goggles on. And it got me thinking. Baseball is the only sport that does this when you clinch the playoff spot. But does baseball have it right? Do they have it right to celebrate the small moments, the small victories, like making the playoffs, even though it's very difficult to do in baseball? Or do the other sports have it right where they just pretty much save that till the end when they actually win something? And I put this out on Instagram, got some feedback, but I wanted to hear what you guys have to think.
You know, I was thinking about this, and the more you see it, the more I really don't care to see it anymore. It's just the same thing. It's goggles, it's beer, it's just it's the same shit. I don't know. It kind of loses its luster. Like in hockey, do you see guys celebrate when they win the President's Trophy? No, they don't do that when they clinch a playoff spot, right? I'm just trying to I'm trying to do that to other sports. Why baseball? Like why that? Like it doesn't resonate with me, to be quite honest with you. I don't get it. Now, on the flip side, could I see it as a like a team building type of thing? Like you get a taste of it, you like it, you want to do it again. That gives you motivation. Sure, but as a fan, I'm kind of over it. Unless somebody comes up with something different, like they go like show live streaking in the streets or something like that, or
maybe they bring out the slip and slide onto the field, and all the guys
Sure.
with the goggles are sliding down or something.
Sure. I just think it's done. I just think it's overdone.
I hate it. Like I don't get why you celebrate. But so let me preface all this by saying I hate it. I don't like seeing it. I don't think you should celebrate making the playoffs. But isn't that kind of baseball players telling you how much of a grind an MLB season is? Like
That's
how
what I was going
long,
to get to. Yep.
like how long it is. Like I was thinking about it. It's almost like you don't celebrate winning a marathon. You celebrate finishing a marathon. You see people at the end of marathons that come in like 110th place and they are like hugging each other. And it's almost like it's just such a long season that baseball players are almost telling you how much of a grind this is. So again, I still don't agree with it. I think you can just kind of give it a little Sally, but cracking champagne for being a wild card team, I'm not a big fan of it. Maybe if you win the overall best record or something, but even that, I think you celebrate winning the pennant. That for me is where kind of the celebrations start, is the pennant.
I don't mind it for baseball because the season is such a grind. They're with each other every day. They pretty much play every day. So I get the allure to having a nice celebration with the boys when you actually accomplish something, because the road to get there had been so long and difficult. I think it only really works for baseball. So that's why I don't mind it. I hated it at first, like you, Bobby. But the more I thought about it, like, man, life is short. Have fun with your teammates. Enjoy it. Celebrate it. Some guys may only make the playoffs once in their entire career, right? So it's nice to celebrate something. I would never see that happening in hockey or in football or even basketball for that matter. But their seasons are not the grind that baseball is. So I understand it.
But I kind of understand it more back in the day when there were like 24 teams and like 2 teams made the playoffs from each league. It was like immediately you were in like the would be the equivalent of the LCS.
That's right.
Doesn't that make more sense? Like you see a wild card celebration is eerily similar to a World Series celebration. It's kind of a little messed up. No, imagine like if making the playoffs was like a similar celebration to the Stanley Cup Finals, like to winning the Stanley Cup. There has to be like a little bit of separation where it looks a little different.
There is. This time they only had 3 beers. When they make it to the LCS, they have 8 beers.
Or just read the shirts. The shirts have different sayings on them.
That is true. All right, let's get to it. So the Jays are hosting the Seattle Mariners. It'll be a best of three, all played at the Rogers Center. I believe they're going to try to line up the rotation to have Manoah, Gossman, and then it's either Stripling or Berrios. I think it's going to be Stripling at this point, is it not?
I would. Quality starts.
Berrios, you just don't know what you're going to get from him. He's like Forrest Gump, box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get.
It's so true. I think whoever starts is going to have the shortest of leashes. I'm talking like two base runners and somebody's up thrown in the bullpen kind of leash.
Out of Stripling or Berrios?
Yes, between those two, there's no way Devin White's starting. And we know Kikuchi's. Hopefully they give Kikuchi a start tomorrow. Just maybe he can iron out some stuff. He had a good relief appearance. I think it was Sunday or Saturday. But hopefully they can get him a start. He can figure it out. But yeah, at this point, it's Stripling or Berrios, and you paid Berrios a lot of money, so I wouldn't be surprised if they decide to go with him and just kind of see how he starts. The good thing about Berrios is you almost know immediately how he is.
True.
In a lot of his bad starts, he's been bad in the first inning, and in a lot of the good ones, he's been obviously good in the first inning. So, I wouldn't be surprised if they go with Berrios. I think I would start Stripling just given the fact that he's been pitching. He's pitched really well. I don't think we've talked about it because he was injured for a few months, but he's been really, really good in the rotation.
He's been found gold for them.
The question then becomes, though, if they go, let's just say they go Stripling in the third game and they win, does that mean you go with Berrios in game one? Or do you go back to Manoah?
I don't even think you think about that right now. You just got to win this series.
No, I understood. I'm just like,
how does it line up, Frank? Like when's game one for the
Friday,
wild card is Friday?
It goes Friday, Saturday, Sunday, right through.
Yeah, so that means when does the division series start? Tuesday?
It would be
probably a day. You get a day off in between, and then
yeah.
See, the other thing is excuse me, Stripling, although he's obviously a starting pitcher this year, he has experience also coming out of the bullpen as the long man in his career. Berrios doesn't. I'm not sure how much that factors in from a mental standpoint. But if you had to make a move, let's say Berrios goes in game 3 and struggles, who do you bring out of the bullpen? You bring in Phelps, you bring in, Thornton, probably bring in Stripling, right? So I'm curious if there's a familiarity with being in that position that they have a backup in the event that Berrios does get in trouble in the game. So you could possibly see both in the same game.
That is true. Yep.
In a series though, I think that's gonna be your 4-man rotation. Like White's not there. I don't think they trust him at all. So
no, that's not happening.
He might be your long guy out of the bullpen, and it might be Kikuchi. Kikuchi could end up being like a legitimate factor in this playoffs, given the fact that if I were to say what's the biggest weakness of this Jays team, it might be that 5, 6, 7th inning if the starter struggles. We know that 7, 8, 9 they're pretty good, but the bullpen has had some issues here and there. So
it's been a lot better since the deadline. The guys they acquired have definitely helped.
Yeah, and I mean Phelps has been pitching fantastic, and it wasn't even the deadline. It was more like Trevor Richards kind of was pitching a little bit better. Simber was struggling at the beginning of the season, and he's really come around. I think he had the most appearances actually out of the bullpen. So I think they just started pitching better, and because I don't think they added a lot of arms at the trade deadline. It was so long ago. I don't even remember.
Bass
and Pop, yeah, and Bass has been good, and Pop has been pretty good. Yeah, no. So those are really nice ads, but it also helps that Simber started pitching well. Didn't hear a lot from Jimmy Garcia to end the season, but that's a guy that he's pitched in big spots.
How do you think their pitching rotation matches up against the Mariners?
Mariners have good pitching. I
former J Robbie Ray coming this way.
They've got a few guys. I say. You know what? I've been so bothered by it. A lot of people being like, well, you've got to dodge the Mariners and, maybe you want to dodge the Rays. Just be the Blue Jays. Just be like, you know what? We're the better team. Let's just beat whoever we've got to play. I mean, people saying they've got to dodge the Mariners. The Mariners have the same amount of wins as the Rays, despite the fact that they play in a division with Oakland, who's a tire fire, the Texas Rangers, who are just as big of a tire fire, and the Anaheim Angels, who have two of the best players in baseball and can barely win 73 games. They got a lot of layups in that division. I'm not sitting there saying you've got to dodge the Mariners. The Mariners might end up winning the series, but if you can't go and beat the Mariners, then something you got to do something internally. This is not like let's dodge teams. At some point, you're gonna have to play a good team. You're gonna have to play a Houston. You're gonna have to play a Tampa. You're gonna have to play Cleveland. You're gonna have to play New York. You're gonna have to beat good teams. So just go out and win. Just go out and be the team that everybody picked to win the World Series. Play some good ball. 3 games at home.
And the Rogers Center, it's going to be absolutely rocking. I say what you want about like the atmosphere at Leaf games. I think when you look at the Toronto sports fan as a whole, look at Raptor games, look at Blue Jay games, look at TFC games. The Maple Leafs are really the only outlier in terms of that like boring crowd atmosphere. The rest, like the crowds really bring it. The crowds were electric when the Blue Jays made the playoffs those in 2015, 2016. So I think it's going to be awesome. It'll be awesome to be there as well.
Were you guys at any of those games at the
Fun story for you. I sold the infamous Game 5 Joey Bats bat flip game. I sold those tickets because I wanted to buy tickets. So I wanted to go to the ALDS or AL that was the ALDS. I wanted to go to the ALCS and I didn't want to have to pay for it. So I sold Game 5 to cover the cost that I paid for the tickets. Plus it paid for the next game that I went to against the Kansas City Royals in the next series. But huge mistake. Biggest regret of my life right there.
Let me guess. You went to Game 4 of the Royals series?
I went to the one where the Jays won, but I think it was Game 5. Game 5.
I went to Game 5 as well. I was at Game 5 as well, and that was coming off like a 4. Yeah. They were coming off like a 14-2 loss. The atmosphere was still fantastic. So I expect the Rogers Center to be really fired up, especially considering this is kind of the first time we're going to see playoff baseball here since 2016. Since 2020, when the Jays made it, they didn't play here, right? They played
That's correct. They played in Tampa Bay.
In Tampa, right? Was it the wild card game that year, or the 2-game wild or 3-game?
I think it was a 2-gamer. They lost both.
Yeah. 2-gamer, right. So there hasn't been a game here in a playoff game here in a while, but it was an electric atmosphere in a series that kind of felt like had gotten away from the Jays. So I can't even imagine a game one, in this wild card series should be pretty electric. Are you guys worried at all with the Mariners?
I was a little bit until you convinced me. Like they have the exact same record as the Rays, but they play in a way easier division to give them that record. So the Jays at home should absolutely win this series.
I don't fear their offense, but their pitching can probably steal a game. They have a legit rotation. If they throw out Ricky Ray, Castillo, I can't remember the third, but
there's a guy pitching tonight. Yeah, they've got a couple guys with low 3s ERAs. The Jays are 2-5 against them. And some people are going to say, well, but I'm saying you're probably a better. If you're not a better team, you're equal. Maybe these are the 3 games you win to get yourself back to, or 2 games to win back to 4. I think you're almost due against them. So, but it's baseball. You never know.
I'd be more worried if the game was in Seattle.
And Seattle's got to make the trip all the way out east, right?
Yes,
that's a fact.
And they got to stay here for 3 days. I think baseball's the one sport where home field doesn't matter as much as like football. Obviously, it matters a lot, but yeah, it's going to be interesting. I saw people saying they want to play the Rays. I wouldn't want to play the Rays. That's like that team's like just
kryptonite.
It's crazy. That's one of the teams I would have wanted to dodge. It just seems like all 6 teams in the AL seem pretty legit. Like Cleveland, that kind of struggled out of the gates, has 2 legit starters. That's not a team I probably would have wanted to play either. So at some point, you just gotta play good ball.
That's it, baby. Just win, baby.
Like predictions? You guys got predictions for baseball at all?
Jays win it in Game 3.
Jays sweep 2.
Ooh.
Yeah, the Jays. If I pick the Jays here, that means they're definitely going to lose because all three of us are on the same. And
Okay, pick the Mariners then. Perfect.
I'm not. I think the Jays are going to win it. I meant more like big picture, like ALNL winner.
I think Houston comes out of the AL, and I think the Dodgers come out of the NL.
Oh, you're going chalk, eh?
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go the Braves out of the NL, and I like the Astros out of the AL.
And the Astros. I was kind of go. I was gonna go something similar there, Frank. I really want to pick the Mets. I like their rotation. I think they're
So
going to be a
pick 'em.
tough.
You're allowed to.
I am. You know what? I'll take the Mets. I'm going to New York in a couple days, so I'll get some clout with the Mets fans. I think it's the Braves. I like that pick, Frank. I'm a big fan, but I'll go with the Mets and
Subway Series?
no, I don't think so. I don't think so. I'll go. Cleveland's a team I'm going to keep my eye on. Small ball team. Small ball team.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Playoff baseball just around the corner. Enjoy. And make sure you hit that like and subscribe button.